The Comfortably Zoned Radio Network presents Weighted Donuts with your hosts Wayne Unger and Craig Stier.
And welcome to this week's show of Weighted Donuts. I'm Wayne Unger. I'm here with my co-host Craig Stier. And tonight we are privileged to have, he's actually the answer to a number of trivia questions. But we're just going to use his name, Eli Grba. Eli, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on.
We're thrilled to have you, Eli. Thrilled to have you.
Like I said, I don't know if I'm talking to a pod or if I'm talking to somebody else. I don't know.
Well, whatever you're more comfortable with. So,
no,
now, you know what? Going with what I opened with, I'm just curious. Well, first of all, hopefully among our vast audience of 20, 30 people, no, it might be more than that. But some people might be too young to know you. They might actually have to go Google you. But to let everybody know, particularly, all the New Yorkers, the expansion draft with the Mets and the Astros was actually not the first expansion draft in Major League Baseball. Yes, the first expansion draft took place in 1960. The Washington Senators moved to Minnesota and became the Minnesota Twins. And the American League added two expansion teams, the Los Angeles Angels and a new team of Washington Senators. And the first pick of the expansion draft was none other than our guest tonight, Eli Grba.
Yeah. I always tell people, I said, I will be a trivia question until I go into the grave. Who was the first player ever selected in the Major League draft?
Eli, you're going to be that trivia. You're going to be a trivia question and answer beyond that time.
Yes,
that's forever.
and then who has written the book?
Yes. And
that's true.
And also and among Angels aficionados, you also had the first pitching victory, as we'll describe it, in Angels history.
1961 against Baltimore.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it.
No. I knew that you were the first draft pick, and I remember reading years ago that Casey Stengel was approached by the Angels to be a manager. But what I just discovered the other night, doing a little research, was that he actually advised the Angels on who to pick in that draft. And looking at that draft, I have to tell you, the Angels really kicked the Senators' ass if you go player by player. They had a much better draft. I mean, and I'm just going to ask one more question regarding that, and I'm going to turn it over to Craig. Okay?
Go ahead.
What do you think, from 1960 on, from that expansion draft, who would you say from 1960 on had the best overall career? I'm like at a dead heat with two players.
Oh boy! You're. Really and truly, Fugazi lasted a long time. But see, Fugazi came a different way, I think. But you're talking about the original Angels. But Dean Chance was probably the best right-handed pitcher that nobody knew anything about. I'll tell you what, he was an amazing kid. If you look back, and if people are, an aficionado of going back and looking, you look at some of the years that he had, and, with bad teams. I think the one year he lost 11 games, I think, by 1 run, or something like 1-0. It was, and 1 year he had 18 complete games.
Yeah, he was terrific, and he was great.
And I say him, And then, of course, Fregosi, and then Bob Rogers had a pretty good career and everything else. But, as far as somebody who really won the Cy Young one year.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was a 19-year-old.
I had Chance and Fregosi pretty much like in a toss-up, and I remember them both. I mean, because that was, I started collecting baseball cards in 1961.
Yeah.
So, back then, you're really like, when you followed players outside of wherever you lived, and for me it was New York, and I was very fortunate to, that we had two teams, so I got to see National League and American League teams play on TV. But most of it you're following through box scores and what you see on the back of the baseball card.
You got to remember something. Let me interject here something. Let me tell you something. A lot of the people in New York and on the West and the East Coast, you guys didn't get any information about what was happening out in California. They had a coast league out there before your time where it was equal to probably maybe a fifth-place team or a sixth-place team in the big league. Los Angeles in 1956, I was with the Seals in 56. See, I signed with Boston right out of high school. And we had a team in 1956. Los Angeles Angels won the league by 16 games. Bilko hit 360. He hit 55 home runs and drove in something like 160 runs. You there?
Wow. Yeah.
I'm listening. Yes, I'm listening.
A lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of guys that were on a coast league didn't want to go to the big leagues because they took a cut and pay. Bilko did.
Wow.
Right. And now the Coast League at that time was an independent league. They actually sold players to the major leagues. Is that correct?
Well, that's right. Until Boston, because of Cronin's closeness to San Francisco, they had a kind of mini working agreement. And then they also had it with the Hollywood Stars, Pittsburgh. And then one other team, I think it was Seattle, had with Baltimore or somebody, I forget who. But, oh my goodness, they were, and you got to remember, I'm a kid, 20, I forget what I was, but most of these guys I was pitching against and playing against, I remember when I was a kid in Chicago. Max Serkant, Bob Porterfield, a whole mess of them. I'm going, holy smokes. This was, it was quite a league.
Well, Eli, growing up in Chicago, Eli, you were a White Sox fan?
Yeah, sure was.
Who were your favorite players as a kid?
My favorite players as a kid is, probably Luke Apley. And we had a guy by the name of Taft Wright. They used to, and the guy that used to announce and would say right in rights. He always played right field. Uh-huh. And as far as, the pitchers, I kind of mimicked was this guy by the name of Saul Rogovan. And one of the things I remember about Saul Rogovan, he used to fall asleep in the dugout all the time. He had that disease, whatever that is.
Oh, narcolepsy.
And they'd have to wake him up in the dugout. But so you were just Luke Apley, Kaz Michaels, Clarence. Oh God Almighty, who else? Herbie Adams, and I got a good memory for all that stuff. I don't know where it comes from.
So you were with the Red Sox in the Red Sox system when the Go-Go Sox were ruling the league.
What years now? The Go-Go Sox was what years? I forgot.
59.
59? 50?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
No, actually,
I was in the Army for 2 years, from 57 to 59, but I still belong to Boston.
Uh-huh.
No, excuse me. No. I got traded to the Yankees, in 1957 in spring training. But I remember the Go-Go Sox.
I read something that you weren't thrilled about being traded to the Yankees. What were your thoughts there?
Well,
Was it just
being in Chicago, they used to beat the hell out of us all the time. I can recall going to see DiMaggio hitting balls in the upper deck, and holy smokes, it killed us. Whitey Ford, Lopat, Allie Reynolds, Rashi, Cucks, and holy, you're kidding me.
So now you get traded.
Beat the hell out of us.
So you get traded to the Yankees, and you're talking to two very big Yankee fans. Now, did the pitchers? Yep. Did you hang out primarily with the other pitchers? Did you get to know Mickey Mantle? Did you know?
Knew them all.
You were there for a couple. You were there for a couple of years.
I was there.
How'd that go?
A little less than 2 years. Let me tell you something. People, it's a different age. I don't know. I'm not going to say this day and age and against our day, but when you walked into the Yankees clubhouse, there was no messing around. There was no card playing. There was nothing. I got tapped on the shoulder one day for doing the crossword puzzle in the clubhouse. And Stengel called me in the office, and he said, by the way, is there anything that you're doing in there that's going to help you get any of the hitters out? I said, no. He says, don't do it. Yeah, it was all business. And they were all friendly. There wasn't one guy in that team that was a horse's patootie. None of them. Jim Coates had a bad reputation as being kind of a, I don't know what you call it. I don't want to say anything, but, he threw at guys and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, it was an amazing team. They carried themselves. You act like a Yankee. You were not allowed to talk to anybody in the stands. Cressetti would jump all over your butt. I used to take some baseballs and try to throw them in the stands and to all my buddies in Chicago. And Cressetti would say to me, "Man, act like a Yankee, you dummy." And I'll, yeah. You dress like one? Wow. You dressed, I tell you what, it could be 95 degrees outside. And when you were, say we're in Detroit and we're leaving to go back wherever we were going to go, you had a shirt and tie on. You had a shirt and tie on.
Wow.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So I'm guessing you threw to Yogi Berra once in a while?
Yes. Yeah.
What was that like?
Yogi didn't like young guys because we used to, we didn't have the control. And I told him one day, I said, it's no wonder you don't like when I pitched because I didn't have the best control in the world. I said, you had Brassy, Reynolds, and I started mentioning all these games. I said, it's no wonder. I'll tell you who I like to throw to was Ellie, Howard, and Blanchard. I really had a little bit more confidence. Well, I had more confidence with them two guys because Yogi, if you were struggling on the mound, Craig, you were struggling on the mound, all of a sudden Yogi's looking in the dugouts. And I asked him one day, I said, what the hell are you looking in the dugouts for all the time? He said, well, I tell Stengel if he got good stuff or not. That's our signal. I said, well, wonderful. Really, thanks a lot, buddy. He was a super dude, don't get me wrong. But he had stubbly fingers, and I couldn't. I had glasses, and I had a tough time seeing the third finger. For the slider, because 2 would have been a curveball, right, and then 3 was a slider. Well, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. I had a hell of a time with him. Gets it.
So, Elliot, you said you enjoyed throwing to Elston Howard.
Yes.
He's a big hero of both Wayne's and mine. He's
good guy, man.
We've spoken to so many people, and so many people just say he was just the sweetest man, and his wife was just so wonderful. So
wonderful. I was back for the 2007, 2008 Old Timers Day game, and she came to the stadium. But one thing about Ellie, I got to tell you a funny story. It's in twilight. And now Ellie's black, right? And he's got dark fingers. And I couldn't see him. So finally he got a little peeved. And he come out, and here comes Stengel. And he really made Ellie even madder because he says, okay, fine. When you come in the dugout, we'll put tape on your fingers. You know, and Ellie didn't like that too well. You know, I don't think he was too fond of Stengel anyway.
Yeah, he would like that better than the ball players, the catchers today who actually paint their fingernails.
Well, I have news for you. They don't ever call their own pitchers anyway, do they?
No, you're probably right.
Catchers don't call their own pitchers hardly anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy from Cardinals, Molina.
Oh, right.
I don't see. I always see him looking in the dugout. You know.
Yeah, they're constantly looking in the dugout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you must have done something right in New York, Eli, because when it came, like Wayne alluded to earlier, when it came time for the Angels to make their first pick, they relied on what Casey had to say, and they made you their first pick and the answer to a trivia question. So what is it that you think that Casey saw?
Well, the thing that orneriness, I probably should never have been a starter, maybe a spot starter, but I was better out of the bullpen. In 1960, I had a good year for Stengel. I had a good year for the Yankees. I was 6-4, and I started, and I always pitched good against Detroit and White Sox, and believe me, Washington. And you know, the Senators and Whitey had a hell of a time with Washington, but he never pronounced my name. He would always say the guy with a funny name. and he probably did it out of jest, or I guess, but he would never pronounce my name. Get the guy with a funny name up. He'd tell Lopez, you know, he wanted to warm me up. And there were times, you know, I was mean on the mound. I was my own worst enemy. I wasn't mad at anybody else but me. And there was one particular day, he's sitting on the bench, and I'm having one of those days of 3-1, 3 balls and 1 strike, 2-0, you know, always behind, but getting players out. Baltimore had a guy come up that came up just, Kurt Blefary, I think it was, came up from the minor leagues, and he was pinch hitting this one day. And hell, we had a 7-2 lead or something like that. And Lopez says to Casey, he said, "Hey, do me a favor, go out there and tell Grba to keep the ball away from him." And Stengel looked up at him and just says, "To hell with you. You go out there." He yells at me. Well, I didn't yell at him, but I didn't want to give the ball up, and I was just what they call, pardon this phrase, you're red ass. You know, I'm not going to try to argue with him, but there were some things that, I don't know if you got time for the stories that with me and Stengel. Keep going. This one particular time in Detroit, I'm in one of those games that I'm leading 2-1, and I'm behind every hitter. And it's the second game of a doubleheader. Now, Stengel has been known to have a few after the game. He's had quite a few. And this is in August, and it's about 94 degrees. And here's Grba, the second game of a doubleheader. He's mad, you know, he's got the hangover, and he can't stand it. And Jim Coates was the one that really told me what had happened. And now you got to remember, I'm here on the mountain, and they told me when I first got there, take your time. Now, just remember what I said about that, take your time. Well, I would throw a pitch, and I would take my foot and touch it and the whole thing. But this game in Detroit, all of a sudden, he jumps up on the top step, and he's screaming. Now, I just told you how I am. Now, here I am looking at this madman, and he's screaming out there, pointing at me. And I'm looking at the dugout, and all the guys fell out. Now, my neck got, I got out of the inning. I went down. I didn't go to him. I went down and talked to Coachy. And he said, "Grubsy, don't get mad now." I said, "What did he say?" He said, "You ain't going to get mad." I said, "What did he say?" He says, "Well, he had seen enough, I guess, and he jumped up on the top step and he says, "Look at that SLB. Look at that SLB. Here you damn pitcher. Get him a grunt. Get him a rake. Get him a shovel. He's a groundskeeper." I had to laugh too. And that all stemmed from when I first got there. They told me to take my time. Well, when I did, I went overboard. You know, I was bad. And I didn't come up that way. When I came up, I pitched fast.
So, Eli, tell me something. Were you considered a hard thrower?
Yeah. But not consistently hard. If I pitched out of the bullpen, yes. I was better on 2 days rest than I was on 5 days. Because I'd pitch you a hell of a ball game on a Friday, or say on a Sunday. I mean, you'd go, holy smokes. And then, the next 2 starts, I was brutal. You know, people would go, "That's not the same guy." Well, of course, booze had a lot to do with that too. Really. Because it really affected me more than I knew. Later on I found out. But the thing was, it was amazing. And yet, when I came out of the pen, I was a lot better. Don't ask me why. In the minor leagues, when I was in Richmond, and Cleve Boyer told me one day, he says, "I've never seen anybody that had stuff that you had when you first came up to the Yankees." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "No, Grubby, I'm telling you, I never saw. I had that real hard sinker, but I didn't have real good control. Out of the pen, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Who the hell knows?"
Now,
I have no idea.
Were you a heavy drinker coming up through the minor leagues, or did you start in the major leagues?
No, hell no. I started really and truly when I was about 16 years old. I'm from South Chicago, and it's a hard drinking, hard working, people they were Serbs and Crows and Mexicans, and really just it's super. And it was part of life there, and it was, my dad was one, he was an alcoholic and a mean man. It's, from what I gather, his dad was too. So you know what? I was the one that got that gene. And it really and truly, not only did it affect me that, and what was funny about this here, Craig and Wayne, I wasn't the type to fall down and everything else. And there wasn't a damn day that went by that I didn't drink. Or night, I didn't drink. There was a couple times I drank during the daytime. I don't like to say that, but I did. My friends, I tell you what I did. I pitched a game in the Army. Jim Owens was there, Don Budden, Gordy Coleman, Tom Chaney, and we went to play. I was at Fort McPherson. Went to play a game in Macon. They were the champions of this AAA, semi-pro league and the whole thing, right? Well, Jim had been in that league before, and Jim liked to have his taste too, and so did Tom and Budden, and we all drank together. So anyway, I'm supposed to pitch, and Jim says, "Let's go to this one place and have something to eat." Wait about 4 hours before the game. Well, I wasn't going to drink because I said, "Nah." And Jim says, "Well, let's have a rum and coke." And I said, "Get out of here. I'm pitching." He said, "What, ain't going to kill you?" Now, this is in August. True story. And I was one of the other kids was with us. We drank all but about 1/4 of the bottle of rum. And the first time I can ever remember, that I was that drunk and rum did that to me. And I went out, we got back on, went to get on the bus, and the sergeant saw me. He said, "You're drunk." And I said, "I guess I am." And he said, "You gonna pitch?" I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll pitch." Went down to the bullpen. I started warming up, hot, sweating, got naturally loose quick, and I saw double. So I had to have different signs. I saw double. I try to make a long story shorter. I hit one of the longest home runs I've ever hit on a painted slider of this guy. I pitched 9 innings, and I won 13-2. And afterwards, Jim Owen says, "You're my new idol." Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
let me
And
ask
that was
you.
yeah.
Oh, I was going to, there was a movie called 61, and it was basically about the 61 season with Mantle and Maris. And in that movie, it depicted a lot of drinking, a lot of partying by the Yankees. You know, I don't know if you saw the movie, but is that overblown or was that? Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
let's put it this way, Wayne. When I was there with them, you didn't party because first of all, you had my roommate was Cleet, and I never saw Cleet. I roomed with his bags all the time. He was gone And you got to remember, I'm a rookie, so I kind of watched myself as far as chasing. Well, drinking was different because I was by myself most of the time, and that's where a lot of the loneliness came from. But
Well, why were you alone? Where was Cleet Boyer?
Cleet, well, when we were in New York, the guys had their families.
Oh.
And,
Okay.
Coates in 1959, when I first came up, I stayed with Coates and Duke Maz until their families come. And then I was by myself again, So, I'm not using that as an excuse all the time for drinking, but what the hell else am I going to do? In New York, I find nice pub somewhere. But what I didn't know about New York, everybody knows who you are. I sneak into a local pub in the Bronx someplace, and the next thing I know, I got 3 beers in front of me. "Hey, Grba, you did all right, man." Or else, "Hey, you're a bum. You stink, Grba." Yeah, but they partied. Yeah, nobody has to tell stories about Mickey. It's all been told. Whitey. I don't remember ever seeing Whitey out. I never saw him on the road. No, they were different than me. Once in a while, when we first got there, Mickey and Whitey took me and Coates out someplace in Boston, and we had a few drinks and we ate. Larson took me as being a rookie and got me my first major league suit and took me all around town and introduced me to every place and told me where they got places that got the free steaks just for signing a few autographs. Danny's Steakhouse. Yeah, and then the stage of delicatessen. Used to sit and talk to Jackie Leonard all the time. So, but as far as, people, parties and everything else, I never went to any of those. Never. Mickey drank outside. He did whatever he did, that was, no, he's out of my league, man. That's, I'm not, like I said, I'm just a rook, even in 1960.
Right.
And the thing was, the year that I had in 1960, I got sent down at the start of the season because the only reason that I could think of is I got caught. I got caught with some woman on a train going from spring training up to Richmond where we were going to play a game on the way to New York. Because the excuse that they gave, the excuse that they said is they wanted to see John Gabler first before they saw me. Well, that didn't help me any. Like I told you before, I had a habit sometimes of saying some things that I probably shouldn't have said, but once I got back down to Richmond, I had a good year, and I come back, and it was great. is they voted me a full share. But after the 60 season, I had nothing more good to say about Stengel at all for a long time, because he never used me in a series. And did you people know, of course you would know, that in about the fourth game or fifth game, he called Duke into his room, and he called me into his room, and he said to Duke, I want you to pitch like Bob Friend, and I want you to pitch like that, a tall right-hander that Pittsburgh had that year. That was, he was a Mormon. He was from Utah. Can't think of his name. But anyway, he says, I want you to pitch. Well, you know what? We smoked them. You know, and all we did, you know, Duke and I, we weren't going to pitch. We drank and just partied around the hotel. Man.
What else do you remember about the series against the Pirates? Because that's a very famous World Series.
The hate.
Really?
Afterwards, oh yes. I've never seen the one story I can remember was I was devastated. You know, my mom and everybody was there, and you know, pitching batting practice, and you know, not knowing, you know, you're not going to get into the game. We go into the ninth inning, and we don't have anybody. He gets Whitey up to try to throw, and Whitey's done. Whitey's arm is like hanging because he pitched those 2 or 3 complete games, 2 games. You know, so he's got Ryan Dern sitting on the bench, Duke, myself, I forget who else, and he got Terry up, which was, hey, that's okay, you know, he's a hell of a pitcher. But Ryan asked me a question one day, who would you rather see out there for 1 inning? It's his job was a short man, you know, the whole thing. But he didn't start Whitey Ford the first game, and now he didn't pitch me, and I'm supposed to be, you know, happy about it? Because nobody said to us that you might not be used in the series, you know, really. So I was like, oh my God, where am I at? Holy shit. And then in 1970, they had an Old Timers Day game in Pittsburgh, and I mean, this was for real. This was real. And this wasn't no fun. Man, Mickey said when Roy Faithkin was pitching for him, he says, I want to hit the ball right back through the middle and blow a hole through him. That's the hatred. Yeah. And then it went on for years. And you know what? It's very strange. I took crap for that because part of my family married into people from Pittsburgh. And think about what I caught when I went back home all the time. You know, they're from Pittsburgh. Yeah. Hey, Gerb. Oh, that's a home run off of him. Oh, that's, every year I get it, I come home, oh my God.
Do you remember pinch running in that series?
Yes, I do. For Elston Howard.
What was the situation?
I don't know.
What was that?
You know what it was? Just to try to get me in a game. Elliot hurt himself. I guess he'd foul tip or something, his ankle. And I could run and I could slide. I was a pretty good, you know, athlete. Yeah. And I could, you know what's funny, Craig? And, Wayne, I'm on first base and the Pirates, the press box was real close to home plate, you know, that there wasn't much behind it. And I could hear the guy up there, you know how they announce for base hit or, you know, score? He said, Grba is the last guy from the Yankees to get into the game. I was devastated. Oh, yes, I heard that. You know, well, you couldn't help, you know. It was, they didn't do it on purpose. But like I said, just here. And I went, oh, geez. And what was also strange is we're in Pittsburgh, and I'm down in the bullpen, I think about the third game, I forget what game it was. And I warmed up and I didn't get in the game, and I had my jacket on. and there was a foul ball down. I'm a little loose cannon. I took my jacket off. I chased the ball down. I took my jacket off and I pointed to number 18 so my buddies would find out. And sure enough, two of my buddies asked me when I came back, "Hey, Grb, what the hell were you doing pointing at number 18? I said, "So you guys knew that I was here."
That's funny.
What was it like? What was it like in the Yankee clubhouse after Game 7?
Solemn. The young guys like myself and Coates and Johnny Blanchard and some of the younger guys like Stafford, I guess. We were. Mickey had tears. Nobody said too much. The writers came in and it was very quiet, kind of. And I'll never forget because I was standing right next to him because we beat the hell out of their pitchers. And one of the writers, I forget who it was, asked Gil McDougall. He said, "Gil, who had the best stuff of the pitchers that you faced?" He said, "Grba and Moss." Because we, for 20 minutes we smoked him. I threw as hard as I could. Mantle told me one day, he said, "Do me a favor, throw me a four-seamer." And I says, "Up yours. Give up and hit." I shouldn't have done it, but what the hell? I was mad.
Did anybody, I guess it was a different time, but did anybody second guess Stengel from the club?
Everybody did after the series. Everybody.
I'm sorry, did the players publicly second guess him?
You didn't do that. You didn't say too much about that. That came much later on. Well, you know what? Casey. Now I can say this. I'm out of baseball, and I don't want anybody out there to think that here's this punk kid, and no. This was after the fact. This is when you get a little smarter, and he screwed the whole series up when he didn't touch Whitey in the first game, and he gave some real deep excuse that I think was wrong. And I would never repeat what it was.
Remember, why didn't he throw Whitey Ford in the first game?
Why he didn't? He said that he thought that Dittmar being in Yankee Stadium and having the wide open spaces would be a lot, he'd save him. All he said was something like he'd save him for the second game. Oh, well, me, I didn't know any better. But Turley, who had been there for a long time, and Bauer, and, some of the guys that have been with Stengel for, what the hell is he doing? Why? Of course, they didn't say anything after the game. This came out later on during, after the winter. And some of the writers were asking, how come? They love, Stengel, they loved him. And you could understand why. He always gave him a good story, and he was a good manager. It's just, you don't start Ford. Come on.
So, Eli, tell me, what do you think about today's game? Are there any particular play? I mean, do you follow the game a lot today, or are you,
No.
No.
I don't anymore because I got burned out in 1997. I scouted, and I had just had it. It's how you get, especially when you have played a game for so many years and the whole thing, and now all of a sudden, it's just, I don't know. I try to watch I live in a city that's got a pretty good baseball program, Florence, Alabama. And I go to one time or two times, whatever. I hear the last 4 innings. That's all. Or I go to see a high school game, and until I hear screaming and yelling, I go home. No, I'm a hockey freak. I love hockey.
Who do you root for?
This.
Blackhawks?
Sure. I got all kinds of stuff for the Blackhawks. I got my cousin has had season tickets for many, many years. So when they went in, they start winning and everything else, I got Blackhawk shirts and jerseys and all kinds of stuff, man. So, yeah. Somebody asked me one day, why hockey? I said, it'd be such like personality.
When you were scouting,
I get a sense of that.
Yeah. When you were scouting, what club did you scout for?
For the Phillies. Well, the first time was I scouted for when I was still out in California. I scouted for Oakland. The A's. That was in 1969 and 70. And of course, that was
did you scout amateur players?
I'm sorry?
Did you scout amateur players for them?
Yes, strictly amateur.
Okay.
And then you have...
Go ahead. And I was going to ask, anyone who you scouted, did they draft that went on to the major leagues?
I don't even remember. I swear back then, I forgot out in the Coast League. I've got a good memory, but that was such a crazy time in my life. Going through a divorce, and I was, drinking like a fish. And no. Later on, when I scouted for the Phillies, but see, I went when I got out of the detox center. I got right back into baseball. You're talking about the man upstairs working for you, only by the grace of God. I went back into AAA. I went as a pitching coach. 1982. And I loved it. I loved teaching, especially with the young kids. I had a kid ask me one day, you'll enjoy this here, both of you. You know about my life, most part of it. And he asked me, he said, have you ever gone out and just have a beer? I said, what is that? He says, well, you know what I mean? I said, no such thing in my life as one. Never. There was, never one dip of ice cream. It was always like 15 beers or, no, not Eli. No.
Yeah. Well, coming from someone, I mean, listen, I certainly understand it, and I lived it myself. Like, it was like whatever you got into, like it was always all in. But so you've been sober for 35 years.
35 years.
Yes, myself, as I told you the other day, I'm clean 25 years. I mean, I think I have found a lot of balance. I don't do that like obsessive thing anymore. How about yourself? Have you at least found some balance? Of course, yeah, that's good.
Well, so what people don't realize is that alcohol is not the problem anymore. The problem was Eli Grba. And I didn't, and the thing is, once, and it was a spiritual awakening that did it for me. You'll read it in the book. I'm not going to tell you too much about it. And what happened is that I didn't want it anymore. I did not want it anymore. Nothing. I'm telling you, I didn't. But I found out that what a horse's patootie I was. I didn't know how to treat people, treat women. I didn't know how to, how to live. I did not know how to live without alcohol. Alcohol was my bestest friend. That one day that I came home when the Angels sent me down in 1963, I told my wife, I quit. I'm going to have fun. I had fun anyway. But that day is when I quit. And that's just was it. And alcohol became my best friend. It was my best friend. I had no problems. Wayne, I had no problems. Great. Yeah. What kind of problems did I have? Something would happen, stay, go and drink.
I understand. Like I say, I was there, not with alcohol. For me, it was drugs, but I understand.
Sure.
It's like it's like when we tell it, it's like we're talking to the choir. So
I'll tell you something even stranger than this here. In 1964, I got released by the Angels, and now I'm still drinking, and my wife is pregnant with our first baby, and I get sent to Toronto, and I'm drinking every day, buddy, and I mean, there was another player there too. I won't mention his name because it's irrelevant. Every night. Court or whatever it was. I pitched for Sparky Anderson, and that was his first, before he went to the big leagues, I guess he was the worst I've ever played for. It's a wonder he did not get killed, because we had a team, probably a subpar Major League Ball club at Toronto, from Chini and Bobby Del Greco, and, some guys that were, you could say they were up and down in the big leagues for a while, and he screwed that thing up. He was a raving maniac. And yet I won, I think I was 9-8, and my ERA was 2-point-something, and I hardly walked anybody. Now you tell me what happened. What happened? Not so much that, I wasn't in the big leagues anymore. The fear of that had nothing to do with it. And I often ask myself, what happened? And about, I don't know how many years later, Sparky came up to me and he said, you know what? I've never seen anybody like you. I went up one day, my glasses, I stood in second base. My glasses got tilted. I couldn't see. I hit right-handed. It was all screwed up. I hit left-handed, and I had a line drive to right field. But as I'm hitting in batting practice, Ozzie Virgil says to me, what are you doing? I said, throw the ball. Well, when I was a kid playing strikeouts, we used to have to hit left-handed. And he says, I never saw anybody do that. I don't know. I have no idea.
So now
that stuff, crazy, man.
Tell us a little bit about the book. Now, is it out yet, or it's coming out?
No, it's out. It's out.
It's out.
It's out. Okay. Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. You can get it at Amazon, and I think you can, if you go in and ask and order it from Books A Million, you can. Barnes & Noble has it, and it's, you can order it through them. But the people can order it through me, too, because I'm sitting here waiting for my second 100 books, who they were supposed to send to me 2.5 weeks ago. And this is the same thing they do to you. They you pay your money for them and the whole thing, and they make you wait. And in the meantime, I've got all these requests sitting on my desk. So if, people, when it gets here, they can write to me. I'm on Facebook. Write to me and send me the check. And I don't cash the check or anything else until the book comes. And then I put it in an envelope when I send it to you. Then I put it in what do you call? But I've sold over 110 so far.
Well,
and
make that 100. Make that 111, because I'm sending you a check. I can't wait to read it. We pride ourselves, Wayne and I pride ourselves in being very well prepared for our interviews. And we found out that you had written a book, and I was devastated that we didn't have the opportunity.
Don't worry about it. You will
to read the book, but I look forward to reading it.
Well, it's about my use.
Yeah, you
had
a great life. And one thing, Eli,
yeah.
I know that you've lived a full life, and but I don't want you beating. I don't want you beating yourself up. You're a product of where you came from, like you said, and that was part of your of the culture back then. I mean, you came from you came from a tough town, and drinking was part of it.
Yeah, but see, a lot of other people didn't, and I did. And the thing is that I did not ever know up until the last 2 years. This I swear to you when I say this, that I had a problem. And I'm talking about sleeping in cars and sleeping, ruined marriages. And only by the grace of God can I tell you this here. My kids still love me. I even get along good with my ex-wife, who had to go through this here, And, things have changed, my family, I think they like me still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I married a girl, 25 years ago. She became my best friend. And, and those, way back, even when I was first sober and everything else, I never, no, that wasn't why I went with a woman. No. Like I told you, I had to learn. Even after being sober for so long, I had to learn. And I have. And I don't need anything anymore. I don't want anything. No.
I think you're...
As a matter of fact, this book is overwhelming me at times. I could not read it. I got too emotional on the first one. So now I'm a lot better. I'm into it. So.
Now, who'd you work with? Who'd you work with on the book?
I meant to tell you. I worked with a guy by the name of Doug Williams. And
is he from down in Alabama? Is he
no, sir. He's from Gloucester, Virginia, and he has written a book about Jim Coates and Hank Foyles. And he also wrote another book about Dolly. I can't remember her last name. This woman, professional, player who I saw.
Yeah. I know. I read something about this.
Yeah.
The Women's Professional Baseball League.
She was in that movie. Was not in the movie, but her name in that movie was Tom Hanks.
Right.
Well, I saw her play.
Madonna, right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I saw her play when I was a kid in Chicago. I used to play at I can't think of the name of the park, but I remember seeing the two sisters. I don't know if you ever heard of them before, called the Savona sisters. And the one was named Frida, and us kids used to say that she's not a woman. That's got to be a man, because she was hitting balls over the light tower. Fast pitch. Oh, I mean, holy smokes! Whoa. So basically, you asked me about the book, and I don't want to take up everything of your time, but it's about my youth, and it's a lot of funny stuff, and there's a lot of sad things, and. After reading it, I said to myself, did you really want to write this for people to know how you were? Well, yeah, if it helps somebody, if it helps one person that reads it and said, well, if he did it, I can. So I threw a lot away, buddy.
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, the name of the book, it's called Baseball's Fallen Angel, and the name is Eli Grba, but it's spelled Grba. So anyone who wants to, actually anyone who's friends with me, just scan my, or I should say troll my friends list. You can find Eli, or you could just do a search and you could reach out to Eli. You can order the book from him directly. Or, of course, you can always find it on Amazon as well. But it's Eli Grba, Grba, and it's Baseball's Fallen Angel.
Well, just remember, too, if you order it from me, I'm not trying to induce anybody to do anything they don't want to do. Is there's a picture that goes along with it and an inscription. I signed the book and And by the way, I'll be the salesman now. I usually include an angel picture in there. Now, if you want a nice one of the Yankees signed, right? It's going to cost you $3 extra. It's going to cost you $29.
All right. Thanks for telling us about it. That's great.
Well, yes, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. I'm lucky son of this. I'm just sitting here talking to you guys, and I'm saying, look at this. That's hard to believe.
Well, you know what? Craig and I feel the same way in general. Just, Craig, I'll give you a little background. All right. Craig's an attorney. He works for some big financial institution. Me, I'm a regular working guy. I work for Coca-Cola. I fix machines. And we met 20 years ago, a little more than 20 years ago. We worked for a nonprofit organization, and we became friends back then. And we've been, we're on and off in touch, and we got back in touch a few months ago. I actually, with a gentleman who I used to do a show with, we had Craig on as a guest because Craig has written a book that has not yet been published, a book about opening days. And as it turned out, the gentleman who I did the show with, he's like the producer. He said, you and your friend Craig are really good together. He goes, you two guys should do a show. And that's how Craig and I got started doing this. And it's just, for us, it's the same thing. It's amazing. Like, we get to talk to people.
You know what?
And
so, something funny here I got to throw in here. I got walk the line sometime. I'm listening to you talking your typical New York, and I'm listening to Craig and Craig's typical, how would I say it, shirt and tie in
Yeah, we compliment each other that way.
Yes,
it works. It works.
Yeah, well, hey, if it works, don't change it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If it works.
Exactly.
Don't touch
Eli,
it, man.
Eli, I got to tell you, this was a real treat. I think that you're a very special man, and the fact that you were a baseball player is, that's just icing on the cake. I look forward to buying your book and reading your book, and I hope that we keep in touch because your story and just the way your honesty and your humility, you're just a great guy.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Call me anytime.
We will, and I'm sending you a check. What?
Do you think maybe this will motivate you to create a Facebook page, or you could stay in touch with Eli?
Does Eli?
I can't get him. Eli is on Facebook. Eli, I can't get this guy on Facebook. He doesn't want to go on Facebook.
Well, maybe he thinks maybe he'll be too popular on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't think that, but I'm gonna throw it back to a different era.
Yeah, but he's young. Eli, he's younger than us, but he's a throwback to a different era.
Well, there's a lot of people younger than us. There's a lot of people younger than me. 81.
You might sound 61 at most.
Well, let's put it this way. Somebody asked me one day about how old you are. I said, I'm 81 years old. Holy smokes, really? You don't act it? I said, wait a minute. Well, how are you supposed to act? Being 81. I said, I still think I can jitterbug. If my knees let me, I said, both of my shoulders are shot. But I said, you think I'm going to let that bother me? I take a couple pills, to ease the pain. I said, you got to live. You keep going. I know a lot of people, a lot of ball players, and a lot of people that have strokes and can't do nothing. Look at the servicemen that come back. Those guys with their legs. They run in a damn in the what do you call it? In the marathon. And I got up. You're going to start moaning and groaning about something? No, thank you. I'm nuts. I will always be nuts.
Good for you. Good for you. You stay in good health, and we'll be in touch. But I'm going to send you a check.
Okay.
And I know you said you don't have the books yet, but I look forward to getting it.
Well, like I said, just be a little patient because when it does come, you'll get it, for sure.
Yeah, I guess when the check gets cashed, I'll know it's on its way.
Yeah, probably. You know what'll happen the next time you call me? I'll be in Vegas. Okay.
All right. Eli, thank you very, very much. Stay in
all
good
right,
health.
man, friends. It's nice talking to you, man.
And we'll talk to you again.
Thank you, Eli.
All right.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good night, Eli.
All right. Bye-bye, y'all.
So, Craig.
Hey, what a terrific guy, right?
Yes, awesome. That was a great show. So, Craig, you can close us out tonight since you had me open.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this latest installment. I'm hoping we can come back with a show that's as interesting as this one. Wayne, what a great get that was. He was just terrific. Have a good week, everybody. Watch a lot of baseball, and we'll see you next week on Weighted Donuts. Take care, Wayne.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.